Today I'm in the wood yard. I just made a big dump. Now we're gonna load it back up and go deliver some wood. Here we go. Dry wood. This is the stuff that Tony and I cut yesterday on my buddy Bill's land. And Tony got a full trailer load full and I got almost a full trailer load full. And I just dumped it. But I've got a customer that actually wants some of this today because he wants his son to learn how to split wood. But I had it loaded with logs. There was some stuff not cut all the way here. Stuff that's dry already, smaller ones, and then some bigger ones. So he wants 2 face cords or 2/3 of a cord, but he wants one to be of stuff that needs to be split, and then he wants one of stuff that's ready to burn right now. So I'm gonna first load up the stuff that's ready to burn now because he wants that delivered second, because he has actually 2 houses. I don't know the deal. He's got 2 houses. And so one of them is going to be going, the first one is going to be going to the place where his son lives. I think he's 12 or 13. And I think he lives with his mom, but I think he owns both houses. I don't know the whole deal. But I'm going to deliver it there first, and his son is going to split that wood. Then I'm going to go to his other house, and then we're going to put that probably in his bins. Usually he's got bins right there, racks where we put all the wood. So we're going to stack it all in there. So I got to get it loaded up, and that's what we're going to do. So I got to get busy. So my delivery is done, and I went right from my delivery and I drove out here. I am on my buddy's land where I've been cutting the maple, and I'm gonna cut some more, but I'm not doing it till tomorrow. What I'm gonna do right now this evening is I'm going to sharpen up my saws, clean the filters, get them ready to go, because last time I cut, I didn't do any of that. When I got back, usually I like to, get everything ready for the next time I'm gonna go, and I didn't have time for that because I got back so late. So I'm gonna do right now, so I got the saws out on the tailgate here. We're gonna sharpen them up, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what I do when I sharpen to get the saws ready to go. So sharpening time. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is sharpening my chain, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Now, I can use a file. I use a file quite often when I'm in the woods because I can stick this in my pocket, have it with me if I got to touch up the saw quick. But I generally don't sharpen very much with a file. I prefer the Dremel. It's way faster, which you're about to see. For those of you that have seen the channel for a while, you know this is the way to go. They're Oregon 7/32 bits that I use. You get a 3-pack for like $5, $6, something like that. Now this one has been on here a while. As you can see, it's kind of starting to get tapered. This is a new one, so you can see the difference. You can use them when they get down like this, but then you don't really get the right shape to the tooth. So once they start wearing down, I change out the bit. So I'm going to put a new bit in here and get it back to the original shape, because this is the size that we want. So what I do is I have a portable power pack. This is the Opus one, or Opes, however you say it. I've got a couple different ones. I also have the ELB unit, which is smaller than this. This is a bigger one here. This is a new one a company sent me. I'm trying out. So we're going to be using that today. It's a portable power pack, so I can go anywhere with it. Now, while I'm changing this bit out, I'm going to answer a few questions. The question that comes up all the time, or the comment I should say, is the guys are like, oh, hand filing's the best. And it is, it's great. But it takes frickin' forever. Especially if you have really bad teeth. If you hit a stone or you hit a nail or something, it's kind of hard to get out. It takes a long time to get it back to shape. This is fast. Now, guys will say, oh, but that's not as good as sharpening with a file. But I got one question to ask you if you're going to be saying that or thinking that. What do you think they use in the factory to sharpen chains with? Do you think they're using a file by hand, or do you think they're using a grinder? They're ground down. And there's some guys that will say, oh, but it's not out of the box. It's not as sharp as if I hand file it. Well, fine, then touch it up. You can do that if that's what you want to do. When I take stuff out of the box, I take the rakers down a couple strokes right away, and then I'll cut, and then I'll sharpen, and then get it good to go. Now, so I got a new bit in here, and it's ready to be used, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some sharpening here. I like to sharpen pretty much every tank. Once in a while I'll go every other tank if I'm cutting really clean wood, especially like in the wintertime where there's no dirt, there's no rocks, there's nothing that I'm hitting. But generally you get about halfway through that second tank and you think, I should sharpen it because it's just not quite as sharp. So, and I'm not really sharpening, I'm just touching it up is all I'm really doing most of the time when I'm sharpening. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna touch it up and I'm gonna show you how I do it. Okay, so first thing first, when I am using the Dremel, this is Dremel 3000. I've got 4 or 5 different ones. I also have a off-brand one too that I use, so it's an Ease Do, but the Dremel works really good. This is what I prefer. And I wear gloves because I'll be handling the chain. I wear safety glasses and I wear cheaters. Even though my close vision is very good, I like the cheaters because I can see really close up what's happening on the tooth. And I wear ear protection. So we're going to get everything together here. Put my glasses on, put my gloves on, and we're going to sharpen. Now another thing that comes up all the time is guys say, oh yeah, but when you're grinding, you're heating that tooth up and it's getting brittle. I have never had a tooth break on me because it was brittle from grinding. I'm not grinding and heating that up to where it's red hot. All I'm doing is just touching it up. It goes very quick. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to find a starting point. I can't remember if this chain has got a connector that's a different color. No, it looks like it doesn't. So I happen to have a grease pencil and I have a Sharpie. So basically first thing I do is I just mark a tooth so I know where I'm starting, even though you can kind of tell. I do everything in one shot. I don't go back and forth. I'm going to just sharpen it as I go here. So I think what we'll do is we're going to move the camera though over to the other side so you guys can see from over here. So I'll put you guys over here. Now normally I have a sled with a vise that I lock the saw into. I forgot to grab it when I left, but I can do it without it because I'm not pushing that hard. Like when you're filing, you're pushing really hard and it's pretty violent. You want the saw locked in. But with this, you're just kind of just skimming it across the tooth here. So here's how she goes. Hang on to the front like this. Done. And these teeth are bad. They got some nicks in them and the tooth is not great. Done. 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 Yeah, you'd have had one tooth done maybe by now if you were using a file. I don't use a guide. I can see what I'm doing. It's not that hard. All done. Right there's the original tooth. And they are sharp. They got that cat claw-like instant dig into your skin feel here, so they're good. Now I did take the rakers down on these the last time I cut, so I don't need to take the rakers down again. Generally what I do is I'll take the rakers down about every other time or so. So I check the chain tension, it's a little bit loose, we're going to tighten that up quick. And for those of you that haven't been around much, yes, it's pink tape. I put it on a lot of my stuff because when you're out in the woods you drop something, it's hard to find. And the pink is not a natural color, so there we go, that feels about right. As far as chain tension, some guys like it super tight, some guys like it a little bit loose. I go with the nickel most of the time, and the nickel is you should be able to put a nickel underneath your chain when you lift it up, and that's about what I've got it at. I just know by feeling now because I do it so much. So that's done. The next thing I do is I'm going to pop off the cover because I haven't done this in, I don't know, 3 or 4 times since I've cut. So we're going to check the air filter. If you run steel chainsaws, you're going to want to do this more often because they don't clean as well. But this one I'm just going to pop off. This generally shouldn't be too bad. So I'll do this down on the edge here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Oh yeah, needed it. Got a lot of fines there. Now once in a while I will take this and I will wash it out with warm soapy water with some Dawn. Get any oil in there out of there and then let it air dry. You can also run gas through it to clean it out and then let that dry, but there you go. Air filter is been cleaned up a little bit. So that's pretty much the basics. I got one more thing to do yet here once we get the cover back on. Cover is on, and I don't do this all the time, and actually I do it not as much as I probably should, is I grease the tip of the bar once in a while. Just give it a couple pumps. We're running out. I only get a little bit at a time. There we go. I just had to pump. There we go. Now we got it going. It wasn't primed. So now it's starting to come out around the edges here. So, and I don't do this all the time. Just once in a while I hit it. Somebody told me a lot of bars don't even have those anymore. They're just non-greasable. So there, this is my 576 XPG, and I know I'm not going to be using the heated handlebars, but this one is ready to go and it's ready to cut. All I got to do is fuel it up then and put some oil in it, and then we're going to do the other two next. So my next saw is also a 576, but it's just the XP, it's not the G, and I have 2 of those. So actually these are all 576s I'm going to be using. No, 572s, that's what I wanted to say. I do have a 576, but not here today. So this I'm taking off because I threw the chain last time I was cutting, and I didn't throw it. It came off the sprocket if I remember correctly. So I just started opening this up here. So I'm pretty sure that it's off the sprocket. Oh, it just came off the back side is all. And no, I'm not going to take this all apart and clean it because I'm going to be cutting. I don't know, it's not bad. Some people would freak out because there's oil and stuff in there, but in about 5 seconds of cutting, it's going to look just like that again. If they get really bad, I clean them out once in a while if I've got nothing better to do, but it's going to be just fine like that. I'm not going to scrape everything out and clean it all up and make it all pretty. So we're going to tighten this one up then too. And we're back on track. Yeah, get this a little snug again here. Just get this a little tighter so that when I tighten it up, it stays. I just want to get it so it's just starting to be a little snug. And then what I do is I turn here, I lift here at the same time, and I can feel how much tension I want, and that's about what I want right there. And then we're just going to tighten it up. No, I don't put the tip of the bar down and push down on it and crank. I just know where I want it. If it's a little loose, I'll stop when I'm cutting. I'll tighten it up. If it's a little tight, I'll stop, and I will loosen it up a little bit. But I just know, because I've done this so much, that it's going to be just fine. I'm gonna get this good and tight because you don't want them loose, because then everything will be loose on you. So there, that one's nice. That's good. And it's a fairly new chain. I've sharpened it a couple times, so it's been stretched and everything. I'm gonna put my glasses back on. I'm gonna put my muffs back on, and I'm gonna mark a tooth again. I think I can't remember. This one's got a. And I just mark it too. It's just the easiest way, so you know when to stop. And you can tell too when you're cutting. You really don't have to mark a tooth. I just do it out of habit. Done. Takes about a minute and a half or so to sharpen a chain. Nice and sharp. Now I'm not taking the rakers down on this, because I know the last time I sharpened I took the rakers down on all three of my saws, and so I'm not going to do that. But I am gonna, let's see, first before I forget, I'm gonna, oh wait, this is a non-greasable one here. There's no grease hole. This is a Husqvarna one with no grease hole, so I don't have to grease the tip at all. And see, I'm gonna pop the cover off here and see if there's any stuff that needs to be pounded out of the air filter. It doesn't look too bad, but I just do this about every other time I sharpen, same as like greasing and taking down the rakers. Yeah, there's not much in this one at all. Just a couple little bits. There we go, so that's good. Because you want your saw to breathe. You get that all plugged up, especially, I'm not ripping on them, just saying that steel chainsaws in general need to be cleaned out more often. They just collect more debris into the filter. There, another one's done. Now I just got to grab this one back here. This is an older chain. It's already wore down about almost halfway, maybe a little more than halfway even. So we're gonna sharpen this one up. This one doesn't have a lot of life left. It's gonna be good for about 2 more sharpenings, and that's gonna be it. We're gonna sharpen this one up next. Let's see the chain tension. Tension's pretty dang good on that one. So I'm gonna sharpen this one up. All done. This one's a little more dusty. Not too bad though. That's pretty good. Now, sometimes I have extra filters and I'll just swap them out too if I got to clean them if they're really bad. But these aren't too bad. The 572s to me seem to never really get very bad. They must just have a good system compared to some of the other saws that I've had. There we go, all done. Now all I gotta do is throw some oil and gas into these puppies. So here's the power pack. It's Opus or Opus, I don't know, it's O-U-P-E-S. I don't know what it means. But this company sent me this power pack. This is an 1800 watt unit, quite a bit bigger than my other one. My other one was it's 1,000, I believe, the ELB. But this one, it's got 3 ports. It's the on and off power right here. It's at 93%. And when I sharpen, I might use 1% if I sharpen all 3 saws. It shows the temperature inside, I guess. It's got a plug here for charging. You can use the car charger, or you can plug it right into the wall and charge it for input. And you got all kinds of different ways to use stuff here. So I don't know, they work good. They're kind of handy to have. And this is the Dremel. Another question comes up all the time: how many sharpenings can I get from a bit? Generally I get about 5 or 6, something like that. Depends how bad the teeth are. If the teeth are really bad, you'll wear it down more, but you can see it's starting to already get a little bit of a taper to it because I didn't use the tip of it much. So you got to kind of make sure you keep moving your bit back and forth in the actual tooth. But yeah, it works really good. It's really fast. I wouldn't say it's exactly as sharp on the chains as it is with the file, but it's close. And I've done it enough that I know it's probably, I don't know, I think it's about the same for me. Anyways, a lot of guys are poo-poo it because they're afraid of electricity and they like files, I guess. I don't know. It works. Works for me. It's faster. I don't like to sharpen saws. I like to have them sharp. The sharpening part doesn't excite me. I just want it done because I like cutting more than anything else, and so I want to do it fast. So there they are. We're going to gas them up now. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the oil in. I generally try to put the oil in first because I don't mind running out of gas. Running out of oil is a bad thing, so you don't want to forget. And these, I don't know how much is in each one of these, but we're just going to oil them up and then we're going to gas them up and then they'll be ready to go for tomorrow. So it looks like this one's half full, this one's about half full, and this one's just about empty. So I'm just going to dump some. And I don't care about bar oil. I don't care what brand I use. Whatever's on sale. This is the Mystic. I've used Tall Timber. I've used Husqvarna. I've used Steel. I've used Echo. It doesn't matter. And I don't care about whether it's a summer or a winter blend. It all works. I've never had a problem with any of it. Some guys use a vegetable oil and it seems to work for them. So there we go. Oil's in. And remember to put your caps back on. Ask me how I know. Yes, I have picked up a saw, probably because I got interrupted or something and had bar oil run down the side of my chaps or my leg. So there's the oil. Next we're going to do the gas, and I actually prefer the Husqvarna caps over the Stihl ones. The Stihl have that quarter turn thing and they never seem to be tight and they seem to leak. It's just me. I know there's still guys that would fight over that, but I don't really care. I like to actually have it sealed tight. And there we go. And you got a nice gasket on there. There, it's done. One to go. There we go. Fuel is in. So there they are. The saws are in the truck. They're gassed up, they're sharpened up, they're cleaned out, they're ready to go. Tomorrow, 5:30 a.m., we're going to be cutting some trees. We're going to be making firewood. So come on back. I'll see you then. Good night, Irene.